Dr. Catherine Morris stared through the submarine's thick glass window at the dark ocean floor below. The research vessel hovered near a deep-sea volcanic vent, its lights illuminating streams of bubbles rising from the black smokers. She had been studying these vents for 3 years now, but today was different. Today, her instruments had picked up something new. "Are you seeing these readings?" she asked, turning to her research partner, Dr. Alan Shepard, who sat at the monitoring station. His eyes were fixed on the screen, his mouth slightly open in amazement. "I've never seen anything like it," he replied, adjusting his glasses. "These energy signatures are off the charts. Whatever's down there is absorbing and releasing energy in ways that shouldn't be possible. The discovery couldn't have come at a better time. Earth needed a breakthrough. The Galactic Council's trade embargo had been strangling their economy for the past 2 years. Without access to alien technology and resources, humanity's space defense forces were falling behind. Every day, more alien ships gathered at the edge of their solar system, watching, waiting. Catherine pressed the submersible's controls, moving them closer to the vent. The vessel's mechanical arm extended, its sampling tool reaching for the crystalline formations that sparkled in their lights. The crystals had grown in clusters around the vent, their surfaces smooth and oddly geometric, unlike anything they'd seen in their previous expeditions. "Careful," Alan warned, monitoring the pressure readings. "These formations are giving off pulses of some kind. They might be unstable." The sampling tool closed around a small cluster of crystals. As soon as it made contact, all the instruments in the submarine went haywire. Lights flickered, and screens filled with static. "What's happening?" Catherine asked, struggling to maintain control of the vessel. Ellen's fingers flew across his keyboard. "The crystals are responding to our electronics. They're amplifying every energy signature in the sub. This is incredible." The disturbance lasted only a few seconds. When it ended, they had their sample, and their instruments returned to normal. But Catherine knew their lives would never be the same. They had just discovered something extraordinary. Back at the surface research station, their small team worked around the clock. Initial tests showed that the crystals didn't just conduct energy, they'd multiplied it. A tiny electrical current fed into one end would come out the other 100 times stronger. Even more surprisingly, the crystals seemed to remember and adapt to different types of energy signatures. "Look at this," Catherine said one evening, pointing to a microscope display. "The crystal structure is actually changing at the molecular level. It's like it's learning." Alan nodded, making notes on his tablet. "The real question is, why haven't the aliens discovered these? They've been studying Earth's oceans for decades." "Maybe they have," Catherine replied, "but couldn't use them. Notice how the crystals only became active when our equipment touched them. They're responding specifically to Earth-based technology." As weeks passed, their research revealed more surprises. The crystals grew naturally in the extreme conditions around the vents, but they could also be cultivated in laboratories under the right conditions. They discovered that different pressure levels during formation created crystals with different properties, some better at storing energy, others at amplifying it, and some capable of focusing it into tight beams. The military implications were obvious. Catherine and Alan had both worked on defense projects before, and they knew what this could mean for Earth's protection. But they also understood the risks. If they reported their findings, the peaceful research station would become a military target. One morning, as Catherine sat in her office writing reports, her computer screen suddenly went dark. Then all the screens in the facility lit up with the same message: "Alert! Unauthorized alien vessel detected in Earth's atmosphere." She rushed to the observation deck, joining Alan and other researchers. Through the reinforced windows, they watched a sleek, silver ship descend from the clouds. It was a Xeraxian design, one of the most powerful species in the Galactic Council. "They know," Ellen whispered. "Somehow, they detected what we're doing here." Catherine made a quick decision. She pulled out her phone and dialed a number she'd hoped she'd never have to use. her direct line to Earth Defense Command. "This is Dr. Catherine Morris, authorization code Delta 793, she said as soon as the line connected. "We have a Priority 1 discovery at the Pacific Deep Sea Research Station, and we have visitors." Within minutes, Earth defense ships appeared in the sky above them. The Xeraxian vessel retreated without confrontation, but the message was clear. Their secret wasn't safe anymore. That evening, as military personnel swarmed the research station, Catherine and Alan sat in their lab, looking at their original crystal sample through the microscope. "Everything changes now," Alan said quietly. Catherine nodded. "Yes, but maybe for the better. Earth needs this. We need this." She picked up one of the larger crystal samples, watching it pulse with a soft blue light in response to her touch. In its faceted surface, she saw the reflection of Earth's future, a future where humanity would no longer be at the mercy of alien technology and politics. The next few days were a blur of military briefings and hastily organized experiments. High-ranking officers watched in amazement as Catherine and Alan demonstrated the crystal's capabilities. In one test, a crystal the size of a penny amplified a standard laser to 10 times its normal power. In another, they showed how the crystals could create impenetrable energy shields when properly configured. "The applications go far beyond weapons," Catherine explained to the gathered officials. "These crystals could revolutionize our energy systems, our communications, our space travel capabilities. But we need time to understand them fully." The military leaders agreed to keep the facility under civilian control, but with heavy security. They knew that forcing the research in a purely military direction might miss crucial discoveries. However, they also began immediate construction of a secondary research facility on the Moon, where weapons applications could be developed safely away from Earth. As Catherine watched the sun set over the Pacific from her lab window, she thought about the changes coming to their world. The crystals were just the beginning. Humanity had found its edge, not in copying alien technology, but in discovering something uniquely their own. Alan joined her at the window, holding 2 cups of coffee, ready to change the world. He asked, handing her one. Catherine took the coffee and smiled. "I think we already have. Now we just have to make sure we do it right." In the darkness of the ocean below them, more crystals grew around the volcanic vents, waiting to be discovered. And in space above, alien ships continued their patrol, unaware that the balance of power in the galaxy was about to shift dramatically. The age of human crystal technology had begun. The lunar research station gleamed like a silver beacon on the Moon's surface. Inside its pressurized halls, Susan Mitchell rubbed her tired eyes and stared at the crystals sitting in the testing chamber. This was their 15th attempt today. And like all the others, it had ended in failure. "The energy output is still too unstable," Peter Crawford said from his monitoring station. He pointed to the readings on his screen. "Look at these spikes. If we tried to use this in a weapons system, it would explode before firing." Susan nodded, making notes on her tablet. 6 months had passed since Dr. Morris and Dr. Shepard's discovery of the war crystals, as people now called them. The military had rushed to develop weapons using the crystals, but progress was frustratingly slow. "Maybe we're thinking about this wrong," Susan said, walking over to Peter's station. The crystals responded differently in the ocean labs. What changed when we brought them to the Moon? Before Peter could answer, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Red warning lights flashed in the corridors. "Warning! Crystal containment breach in Lab 3, the computer announced in its calm voice. They rushed to the observation window overlooking Lab 3. Inside, one of the test crystals had begun to pulse with an angry red light. Energy arced from its surface, destroying everything it touched. "Get everyone out of there," Susan shouted into her communicator. The lab technicians were already running for the sealed doors. As the last person escaped, the crystal's glow intensified. Peter's fingers flew across his keyboard. "The energy readings are off the scale. If it blows, it'll take out half the station." Susan felt her heart racing. Then she noticed something strange. The crystal's pulses seemed to match her heartbeat. Without thinking, she pressed her hand against the observation window. The crystal's angry red glow suddenly shifted to a calm blue. The energy arcs disappeared. "How did you do that?" Peter asked, staring at his readings in amazement. "I didn't do anything," Susan replied. "I just... Wait a minute." She pulled up Dr. Morris's original research notes on her tablet. "Look at this. The crystals first activated when they came in contact with human technology. But what if it wasn't the technology at all? What if it was the humans operating it?" They spent the next week testing their new theory. They discovered that the crystals didn't just respond to human presence. They synchronized with human bioelectric fields. This explained why alien civilizations had never been able to use them. The crystals had evolved in Earth's oceans, adapting to the specific energy patterns of Earth life. "It's like they're meant to work with us," Peter said one day, watching a crystal pulse in perfect rhythm with his heartbeat. "We just needed to stop trying to control them and start working with them instead." Progress moved quickly after that. They developed special handling procedures that kept the crystals stable. Each crystal would be attuned to a specific human operator, creating a unique energy signature that couldn't be copied or hacked by alien technology. Susan led the weapons integration team, while Peter focused on stabilization systems. They started small, installing a crystal in a standard defense laser. The results exceeded everyone's expectations. The crystal-enhanced laser cut through alien armor plates like they were paper. "Ready for the big test?" Susan asked Peter one morning as they prepared their largest experiment yet. They had mounted their biggest crystal in a prototype ship weapon, hoping to test its range and power. The target was a small asteroid about 10,000 kilometers from the moon. As they powered up the crystal weapon, Susan felt her heart beating in sync with the crystal's pulses. The targeting computer locked onto the asteroid. "Fire when ready," Peter said. Susan pressed the firing control. A brilliant beam of blue-white energy erupted from the weapon. When it struck the asteroid, the space rock didn't just break apart, it vaporized completely. The observation room erupted in cheers. They had done it. They had created a weapon powerful enough to defend Earth against any alien threat. But their celebration was cut short by an urgent message from Earth Defense Command. Multiple alien ships detected entering the solar system. They're heading straight for the moon. "They must have detected the energy signature from our test," Peter said. Susan quickly began shutting down the crystal systems. "How long until they arrive?" 6 hours, maybe less." They worked frantically to hide evidence of their most important discoveries, especially the connection between human bioelectric fields and crystal stability. If the aliens learned that secret, they might find a way to interfere with it. As they secured the last of their research data, Susan looked out the station's window at Earth hanging in the black sky. "Do you think we're ready for this?" she asked Peter. He joined her at the window. "We have to be. We finally have something they don't understand and can't copy. That's our advantage." The next few hours were tense as they prepared for possible inspection or attack. The alien ships entered lunar orbit, their sleek designs making them look like predatory fish swimming through space. But they didn't attack. Instead, they launched dozens of small probes that began scanning the station. "They're trying to figure out what we've built," Peter explained, watching the probe readings. "But the crystals aren't active right now. All they'll detect is normal human technology." The probes continued their scans for several hours before returning to their ships. The alien fleet remained in orbit for 2 more days before finally departing. They had found nothing obvious to report to the Galactic Council, but Susan knew they would be back. "We need to speed up production," she told her team the next day. "They know we're up to something. Next time they come, they won't be just looking." Over the next month, they worked around the clock. They installed crystal weapons on Earth's defensive satellites and began retrofitting their space fleet. Each crystal was carefully attuned to its human operator, creating an unbreakable bond between weapon and warrior. Susan stood in the main assembly hall, watching as crews installed crystals in ship after ship. Each installation was personally overseen by either her or Peter to ensure perfect synchronization. "We're doing more than just upgrading our weapons," she told Peter as they observed the work. "We're creating a whole new way of fighting. These aren't just tools, they're partners." Peter nodded, checking the latest test results on his tablet. "The aliens won't know what hit them. Their shields are designed to stop energy weapons, but they've never seen energy used like this." As if to emphasize his point, a crystal in one of the nearby ships began to pulse with a soft blue light, responding to its operator's presence. Similar lights appeared throughout the hall as more crystals recognized their human partners. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Susan said, watching the lights pulse in harmony, like stars coming to life. She knew that soon these peaceful lights would become weapons of war. But for now, in this moment, they were a symbol of hope, proof that humanity could stand equal with any civilization in the galaxy. The development phase was nearly complete. Soon, they would find out if their work would be enough to protect Earth and change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. Commander Lisa Hayes stood on the bridge of her ship, the Earth Defense Vessel, EDV, Challenger. The crystal weapon hummed softly in its housing, its blue glow matching her calm heartbeat. Through the main viewport, she watched as the Exaraxian fleet approached Earth's orbit. 30 ships detected, her sensor officer reported. "All warships, biggest fleet they've sent yet." Lisa nodded, keeping her face calm despite the tension in her stomach. This would be humanity's first real test of the crystal weapons in combat. They had trained for months, but training was different from actual battle. "All ships, maintain formation," she ordered through the fleet channel. Earth had positioned 12 ships to meet the Exaraxian fleet. Each one carried the new crystal weapons, though the aliens didn't know that yet. The alien ships looked like giant silver arrowheads, their hulls gleaming in the sunlight. They moved with perfect precision, spreading out in an attack pattern that had overwhelmed many civilizations before. A communication request flashed on Lisa's screen. She accepted it, and Exaraxian Commander appeared on the main display. Like all their species, it had gray-blue skin and large, dark eyes that seemed to reflect starlight. "Earth vessels." The alien spoke in perfect English. "Our scans show unauthorized weapons development on your moon base. The Galactic Council has deemed this a violation of the embargo. Surrender your ships and prepare for inspection." Lisa felt her crystal pulse in sync with her rising anger. "This is Commander Hayes of the Earth Defense Force. We are in Earth space and have every right to develop our own technology. Your embargo is illegal, and we won't surrender." The Exaraxian's eyes narrowed. "Then you leave us no choice. We will take your ships by force and learn what you are hiding." The screen went dark. Immediately, the alien fleet began to move forward, their weapons charging with a familiar green glow. "All ships, power up crystal systems," Lisa ordered. She placed her hand on the control panel near her chair, feeling the crystal respond to her touch. Around the bridge, similar panels lit up as other crew members connected with their stations. The Exaraxians fired first, sending waves of green energy toward Earth's ships. In previous battles, these weapons had easily overwhelmed human shields. But today was different. "Shields at full power," Lisa's defensive officer called out. The crystal-enhanced shields glowed with blue light as they absorbed the alien attack without strain. The Exaraxian ships paused their attack, clearly surprised by the shield's strength. Lisa used that moment of confusion to give her next order. "All ships, target their lead vessel. Fire on my mark." She felt her crystal weapon charging, its power building in harmony with her focused determination. Similar reports came in from the other ships, each crystal responding to its human operators. Fire. 12 beams of brilliant blue-white energy shot across space. They struck the Exaraxian flagship simultaneously, passing through its shields like they weren't even there. The massive alien ship's hull cracked, then broke apart in a spectacular explosion. Silence filled the command channel for a moment. No one had ever seen a HFY warship destroyed so easily. The alien fleet's formation broke. Some ships tried to retreat while others pressed forward to attack. Their weapons fire became desperate and uncoordinated. "Choose your targets," Lisa commanded. "Remember your training. Stay connected with your crystals." The space battle that followed was unlike anything in Earth's history. The human ships moved as if they were dancing, their crystal-powered systems responding instantly to their crew's intentions. Each hit from their weapons devastated the alien ships, while the HFY attacks splashed harmlessly against their shields. In the middle of the battle, Lisa noticed something strange. The crystals weren't just helping them fight. They were learning. Each time the aliens tried a new tactic, the crystals adapted, making their shields and weapons even more effective. "Their flagship is retreating," her sensor officer reported after 20 minutes of combat. The remaining HFY ships were pulling back, their once perfect formation now scattered and broken. "Should we pursue?" asked her weapons officer. Lisa shook her head. "No, let them go. Let them tell the Galactic Council what happened here." As the alien fleet jumped away into hyperspace, cheers erupted across all human ships. They had just won their first major space battle against one of the galaxy's most powerful civilizations. But Lisa knew this was just the beginning. She looked at the battle damage reports on her screen. 3 alien ships destroyed, 7 heavily damaged, and the rest retreating. More importantly, not a single human ship had been lost. "Send a message to Earth Defense Command," she ordered. "The crystal weapons exceeded all expectations, but the HFYs will be back, and next time they'll bring a bigger fleet." Over the next few days, Lisa worked with Susan Mitchell and Peter Crawford, who had come up from the moon base to study the battle data. The crystals had performed even better than their tests had suggested. "Look at these readings," Susan said, showing them a hologram of the battle. "The crystals didn't just power our weapons, they actively countered the alien technology. It's like they remember every weapon used against them and develop a perfect defense." Peter pointed to another set of data. "And the connection between crew and crystal gets stronger with use." By the end of the battle, some ships were reacting almost instantly to threats. Lisa thought about what this meant for the future. "We need to speed up production and training. The HFYs will tell the Galactic Council what happened. Every spacefaring species will know about our crystals soon." She walked to the window of the orbital command center, looking down at Earth. The blue planet seemed peaceful from up here, but she knew that peace was fragile. They had won their first battle, but the war was just beginning. "At least now we have a chance," she said. "For the first time since we learned we weren't alone in the galaxy, we have a real chance to defend ourselves." Susan joined her at the window. "Not just defend. These crystals could change everything. The way we travel in space, the way we build ships, the way we think about technology itself." As if in response to their conversation, the crystal panels throughout the command center pulsed with soft blue light. Earth's defenders had proved themselves in battle, and now the whole galaxy would have to recognize humanity as a force to be reckoned with. But as Lisa watched the stars appearing in the darkening sky, she wondered what price they would have to pay for this victory. The Galactic Council wouldn't take this defeat lightly, and Earth might soon face the combined might of multiple alien civilizations. She placed her hand on the nearest crystal panel, feeling its reassuring pulse. Whatever came next, at least they would face it with their own unique technology, one that represented the perfect partnership between human spirit and Earth's natural wonders. Chief Engineer Richard Martinez stood in Earth's largest crystal-growing facility, watching new formations take shape in the artificial volcanic vents. The defeat of the HFY fleet had bought them time, but everyone knew a bigger fight was coming. "The latest batch looks promising," he said to Dr. Catherine Morris, who had joined him from the original research station. "We've managed to speed up growth by 30% without losing stability." Catherine nodded, checking readings on her tablet. "Good. We'll need every crystal we can get. The Galactic Council is gathering the biggest fleet anyone has ever seen. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent alert. On the main screen, dozens of red dots appeared, showing alien ships jumping into the solar system. But these weren't just Taraxian vessels. There were ships from at least 5 different species. They're attacking the Mars colony. A technician shouted. Richard rushed to his station, watching in horror as the alien fleet descended on the small human settlement. The colony had some crystal defenses, but they weren't fully operational yet. Get me a line to Commander Hayes, he ordered. But before anyone could act, another alert sounded. More alien ships were appearing near Jupiter's moons, where humans had mining operations. They're hitting everything at once, Catherine said, her face grim. They're trying to overwhelm us before we can respond. Richard grabbed his emergency kit. We need to get to the defense center. I have an idea that might help, but we'll need to work fast. As they rushed through the corridors, more reports came in. Alien fleets were attacking every human settlement in the solar system. Earth's crystal-equipped ships were responding, but they were outnumbered 10-1. In the defense center, they found organized chaos. Officers rushed between stations, coordinating Earth's response to the massive attack. Commander Hayes' face appeared on several screens as she directed the space battle. The Martian defense grid is holding, she reported, but we can't get reinforcements there. There are too many enemy ships between us and the colony. Richard connected his tablet to the main system. Commander, I've been working on something new. The crystals don't just have to be weapons. They can create energy networks. He pulled up his designs, showing how multiple crystals could be linked together. If we can connect all our defensive crystals, they'll work as one system. It would multiply their power exponentially. Catherine studied the plans. Like a giant web of crystal energy. That could work, but we'd need someone to coordinate it. The human crystal connection is essential for stability. I'll do it, Richard said. I've been working with these crystals since we started growing them. I know how they think. They worked quickly to implement the plan. Every crystal-equipped ship and defense station would need to synchronize their systems. It had never been tried on this scale before. Richard sat in the control chair they had modified for the attempt. Crystal panels surrounded him, each one connected to defensive systems throughout the solar system. Ready when you are, Catherine said, monitoring his vital signs. Richard closed his eyes and placed his hands on the crystal panels. Immediately, he felt the connection forming. It was like nothing he had ever experienced. He could sense every crystal in Earth's defense network, feel their energy flowing through him. Linking systems now, he said, his voice strained with concentration. Tell all ships to stand by. Through the crystal network, he could see the whole battle. Alien ships swarmed around human colonies and stations. Earth's defenders fought bravely, but they were being pushed back everywhere. Then the network snapped fully into place. Every crystal in human space pulsed with the same blue light, beating in time with Richard's heart. All stations, activate your shields now. Energy flowed from crystal to crystal, creating a vast web of protective fields. Where before each ship and station had its own shield, now they were all connected, sharing power and strength. The aliens pressed their attack, confident in their numbers. But their weapons couldn't break through the unified shield network. Every hit was absorbed, and its energy redistributed through the crystal web. It's working, Catherine exclaimed, watching the battle displays. The shields are holding everywhere. Richard kept his focus on maintaining the network. Through the crystal connection, he could feel every hit, every attempt by the aliens to break through. The crystals were learning from each attack, making the shield stronger. Then he had another idea. The network doesn't just have to be defensive, he said through gritted teeth. We can push back. He focused the crystal energy, turning it outward. Waves of blue energy pulsed through space from every human crystal. The alien ships closest to the shield network began to lose power, their systems overloaded by the crystal energy. "Their ships are shutting down," Commander Hayes reported from the front line. "Whatever you're doing, keep it up." The battle turned quickly after that. Without their weapons and engines, the alien ships were helpless. Some managed to retreat, but many were forced to surrender. After 2 hours of continuous connection with the crystal network, Richard finally let go of the controls. He was exhausted but smiling. "How many ships did we lose?" he asked weakly. Catherine checked the reports. "That's the amazing part. We didn't lose any. Some damage to the Mars colony's outer buildings, but no casualties. Your shield network protected everyone." The victory was bigger than anyone had expected. Not only had they defeated the largest alien fleet ever assembled, but they had done it without destroying most of the enemy ships. It was a show of force that the galaxy couldn't ignore. In the days that followed, Richard worked with teams to make the crystal network permanent. They built relay stations throughout the solar system, each one housing specially grown crystals that could maintain the defensive web even without direct human control. "We're not just defending Earth anymore," he told Catherine as they watched a new relay station being installed near Venus. "We're defending all of human space, and we can do it without killing our enemies." Catherine nodded, remembering how far they'd come from that first discovery in the deep ocean. "The crystals keep surprising us. They're not just weapons or shields, they're teaching us new ways to use energy itself." The alien ships they had captured were being studied, their crews treated well, and offered the chance to return home with a message. Humanity was no longer a minor power to be bullied and embargoed. They had found their own path to advanced technology, one that no other species could copy. Richard looked at the latest crystal growth charts on his tablet. "They'll be back, you know. The Galactic Council won't give up after one defeat, even a big one." "Let them come," Catherine replied confidently. "Every time they attack, the crystals learn. Every battle makes us stronger. And now we know we can protect our people without destroying others." As if in agreement, the crystals throughout the facility pulsed with soft blue light. The next battle was coming, but this time, humanity would face it united, protected by a network of crystal energy that spanned their entire solar system. Admiral Mary Watson watched the massive fleet of Earth ships gather near Proxima Centauri. Each vessel glowed with the now familiar blue light of crystal energy, all connected through the vast network that protected human space. "Latest intelligence report," her aide said, handing her a tablet. "The Galactic Council has committed 90% of their combined fleets to this attack. Over 1,000 ships approaching from 7 different directions." Mary nodded calmly. After months of small battles and tests of Earth's defenses, the Council had finally decided to commit everything to one massive assault. They hoped to overwhelm the crystal network through sheer numbers. "Signal all ships," she ordered. "Begin crystal synchronization." Throughout the fleet, crystal systems pulsed in harmony. Mary placed her hand on the command crystal of her flagship, feeling the energy flow. The crystals had evolved even further in the months since Richard Martinez created the first network. Now they could share not just power, but information and experience. "Multiple hyperspace signatures detected," the sensor officer reported. "They're arriving." Space lit up as hundreds of alien ships appeared. The combined fleet was impressive. Sleek Saraxian warships, massive Drachnid dreadnoughts, swift Medusan raiders, and vessels from dozens of other species. Their weapons charged, creating a rainbow of deadly energy. "Open a channel to all ships, both sides," Mary commanded. When the communication system indicated readiness, she spoke clearly and calmly. "This is Admiral Mary Watson of the Earth Defense Force. You are approaching human space with hostile intent. We have no desire for further conflict. Withdraw now, and we can begin peaceful negotiations." The response came from a Taraxian High Commander, his image appearing on the main screen. "Your crystal technology threatens the balance of power in the galaxy. The Council has deemed it too dangerous to be controlled by a single species. Surrender your ships and share the technology, or we will take it by force." Mary shook her head. The crystals can't be taken by force. They're not just technology. They're a partnership between humanity and a unique form of Earth life. They chose to work with us. That can't be copied or stolen. Then you leave us no choice, the Exaraxian replied. All ships, attack. The alien fleet surged forward, weapons blazing. Energy beams of every color struck the human ship's crystal shields, but the shields held, absorbing and redistributing the power through the network. All ships, defensive formation Delta, Mary ordered. Remember your training. The crystals are our partners, not just our weapons. The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human ships moved with perfect coordination, their crystal systems adapting instantly to every alien tactic. When the Exaraxians tried to overload their shields with concentrated fire, the crystals simply absorbed the energy and grew stronger. When the Drachnids launched their infamous plasma torpedoes, the crystal network created new defensive patterns to neutralize them. They're splitting their fleet, Mary's tactical officer reported, trying to find weak points in the network. There are no weak points, Mary replied confidently. Not anymore. She reached out through her command crystal, feeling the connection to every ship in the fleet. The crystals had taught humanity that true strength came from working together, from sharing power rather than hoarding it. Begin Phase 2, she ordered. The human fleet started to emit waves of crystal energy, just as they had during the solar system battle. But this time, the effect was different. Instead of simply shutting down alien ships, the energy began to interact with their systems in strange ways. Alien weapons fired but produced no harmful effects. Shield generators activated but created patterns of beautiful light instead of barriers. Engines continued to work but could only move ships in paths that took them away from the battle. "What are you doing to our ships?" the Exaraxian commander demanded. "Nothing harmful," Mary answered. "The crystals have learned enough about your technology to redirect it. We don't need to destroy you to win this battle." Throughout the alien fleet, confusion spread as weapons became useless and ships lost the ability to fight. Some captains, frustrated by their helplessness, ordered their crews to ram the human vessels. But the crystal network simply caught their ships in fields of gentle energy, holding them in place. After an hour of failed attacks, the alien fleet hung motionless in space, surrounded by patterns of crystal light. Not a single ship had been destroyed on either side. "Open communication with all ships again," Mary ordered. This time, when she spoke, her words were accompanied by pulses of crystal energy that translated her meaning directly into the alien ship's computers, ensuring nothing was lost in translation. "The battle is over," she said. "Your ships are unharmed but cannot fight. We could have destroyed your fleet, but that's not our way. The crystals have taught us that true power comes from understanding and cooperation, not destruction." She paused, letting that sink in. "We're willing to share some of what we've learned about crystal energy for peaceful purposes, not the military applications, but the advances we've made in propulsion, energy generation, and communication. In return, we ask for an end to the embargo and recognition of Earth's independence." The alien commanders conferred among themselves for several minutes. Finally, the Exaraxian High Commander spoke again, but his tone had changed. "The Galactic Council has underestimated humanity," he admitted. "You've done more than develop powerful weapons. You've found a completely new way to approach technology. We accept your terms." Over the next few days, diplomats from both sides worked out the details of the peace agreement. Earth would remain independent, free to develop its crystal technology without interference. In return, they would share their advances in crystal-based civilian technology, helping to improve life throughout the galaxy. Mary stood with her fellow officers, watching as the alien fleet departed peacefully. "Send a message to Earth," she ordered. "The war is over. We won, and we did it without compromising who we are." Back on Earth, celebrations broke out as news of the victory spread, but in the crystal research facilities, work continued. Dr. Morris, Dr. Shepard, Susan Mitchell, Peter Crawford, and Richard Martinez gathered to discuss the future. "The crystals are still evolving," Catherine said, showing the others her latest readings. "They're not just tools for defense anymore. They're helping us understand the fundamental forces of the universe in new ways." Richard nodded, watching a newly grown crystal pulse with soft light. Maybe that was their purpose all along. Not to help us fight, but to help us grow. To show us a different path forward. In orbit above them, the crystal network continued its quiet work, protecting Earth and its colonies. But now it also reached out into the galaxy, connecting with alien ships that came in peace, sharing knowledge and understanding across the stars. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy, not through copying alien technology or through pure military might, but by forming a unique partnership with a remarkable form of life that had evolved in Earth's own oceans. The age of crystal technology had only just begun.